A fatal accident, a new kind of defense, public outrage. On June 15, 2013, a then 16-year-old Ethan Couch plowed into a small crowd of people, killing 4 and injuring 9 others. Keep watching to find out where the Affluenza teen is now. Ethan Couch was born in April 1997 to Fred and Tanya Couch. By all accounts, his parents had an abusive and tumultuous marriage. Fred later referred to the union as a mistake. Although they eventually divorced, this did little to quell hostility between Fred and Tanya. A social worker later noted that there were looming issues, including Ethan's codependent relationship with his mother and his father's lack of a regular and consistent relationship with Ethan. According to the Chicago Tribune, the family, however, was well off. In 1986, Fred founded Cleburne Metal Works, which reportedly made millions a year. Even so, both Fred and Tanya faced several legal issues before their son's crash. In 2003, Tanya received a charge for reckless driving and later lost her nursing license because she didn't notify the Texas Board of Nursing of the said charge. As for Fred, CBS News states that he was arrested for assaulting an employee in 1999 and was later accused of sexual misconduct by a coworker in 2009. Regarding Couch's upbringing, D Magazine stated that social workers believe that Tanya and Fred adultified Couch and overly involved him in their issues. Moreover, another individual added that Tanya simply couldn't say no to her son. Hours after the fatal accident, CNN reported that Ethan Couch's blood alcohol levels were found to be 3 times the legal limit. The teen was subsequently charged with 4 counts of intoxication manslaughter and 2 counts of intoxication assault and eventually pleaded guilty. However, his well-to-do parents were able to hire a defense team that was about to provide an argument on why Couch needed to be punished leniently for his crimes. His defense contended that he was experiencing something referred to as affluenza. In other words, Couch's wealthy childhood led him to believe that there were no consequences for his actions.
His attorney was arguing that he was the product of an affluent but totally dysfunctional home.
According to The Guardian, the term affluenza goes back to the 1800s and is essentially a catch-all term that denotes the numerous issues, psychological and otherwise, that affluent individuals experience because of their enormous wealth. In Couch's case, Dr. G. Dick Miller, his psychologist, stated, Fred and Tanya taught him a system that's 180 degrees from rational. If you hurt someone, say you're sorry. In that family, if you hurt someone, send some money. Furthermore, Miller blamed the fact that his parents were unable to say no to him. In the end, the judge bought the defense. Couch received no prison time for taking 4 lives and hurting several others. He was sentenced to 10 years of probation and sent to rehab in California. Following Ethan Couch's sentencing, many were enraged and disapproved of the so-called affluenza defense. According to The Guardian, critics noted that he had gotten off scot-free only because his parents had the money and power to provide him with his freedom. As Mark Schindler from the Justice Policy Institute put it, it's worse to be innocent and poor in this country than to be wealthy and guilty. That being said, Couch was hit with various lawsuits from his victims and their families. In 2015, it was reported that Luke McConnell, a 13-year-old victim at the scene, had reached a settlement with Couch. In 2014, CNN reported that Couch had reached a $2 million settlement regarding Sergio Molina. Molina, then a teen, was riding in Couch's truck bed when he crashed. He suffered a brain injury, and as a result, the former soccer player is now paralyzed. Molina's family stated that his medical bills were in the millions and more than they could ever afford. In 2016, according to People, Molina's brother, Alex Lemus, revealed that the Couches had failed to provide any funds. Lemus stated that they needed to pay and he just wanted some help.
His brother says he has quit his job to stay with Sergio all the time.
According to ABC News, Ethan Couch attended his court-ordered rehab in California and returned to Texas to work at Cleburne Sheet Metal. However, in December 2015, he failed to check in with his probation officers. It was later found that Couch, then 18, and his mother Tanya had fled to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. According to The Guardian, this decision was made after a short video showed that Couch had violated his probation. He had attended a party where alcohol was being served and thus had fled the country with his mother to avoid being jailed for the blunder. Weeks later, the BBC reported that Couch and Tanya were found at a Mexican resort and arrested. Tanya had allegedly withdrawn $30,000 and driven across the border. She had also told Couch's father, Fred, that they were going to disappear. Ultimately, the mother and son were discovered when authorities traced a phone call that had been made to Domino's Pizza. In April 2016, Couch was sentenced to 720 days in jail for violating his probation. He was released in April 2018 and was required to wear a patch that detects drug and alcohol ingestion. In 2020, CNN wrote that Ethan Couch was arrested for violating his probation when his patch detected THC. However, he was released shortly after when further testing was unable to determine if the THC had resulted from CBD oil or actual marijuana consumption. Couch's lawyer promptly released a statement that read, "Ethan is committed to his sobriety. His probation will come to an end in 2024. After their Mexican escapade, Tanya Couch was charged with hindering apprehension of a known felon and money laundering. As of 2022, according to an article from WFAA, Tanya's case has yet to go to trial, and her legal team is attempting to get the money laundering charges dismissed. She has reportedly made previous appeals, all of which have been thrown out. According to People, Fred Couch was found guilty of impersonating a police officer back in 2016. Authorities claim that Fred provided them with a fake ID and stated that he was a police officer. The incident occurred when officers responded to a disturbance call. Although he did not receive jail time, he was sentenced to a year of probation. In 2022, Radar Online reported that Reels had made a documentary about Couch titled Affluenza Teen, The Friends Speak.